All right, let's get reaction now. We're joined by Head of Department in the Department of Transport in Gauteng, Dr Thulani Mdadane. Good to have you, Doc, and thank you very much for coming on tonight. What could have led to the no payment of the March subsidies up until now?
Good evening, Thabo and all the listeners. Let me indicate the issue. The issue is that we have been paying Putco for the whole of financial year since April to March, accordingly as per our existing contract. What has happened in the month of March, because generally in the entire government system, government closed the systems somewhere in the mid of March, and therefore the payment get to be suspended in terms of actual payment to the service providers, and we pay a portion because of that situation. So Putco, like many other bus operating companies that are getting subsidy from the province, were paid up until the 15th of March, and the remaining 15 days, we did indicate that because of the cut-off of the system by our provincial treasury, they will then be paid the portion of the 15 days in the new financial year starting in April. And this is a grant that we receive as a province, like all other provinces, from our National Department of Transport. And that money, unfortunately, did not come in time in April, and it came at a point where our national office indicated that the money will be reflecting to provincial treasury books next Monday. Just to intervene, we then decided, because we've got a commitment from our National Department of Transport that money will be reflected, it has been captured, and therefore we can therefore pay and capture the payment for all the bus operating companies. And in particular to Putco, we have captured the money that was due for the 15 days in March, and we have informed Putco accordingly that that money will be received by them to their books on Monday. In the meantime, they can proceed and provide commuters with buses. That is the issue at this point. It's only on the 15 days cut-off that happened in March, not only to Putco, to all other service providers. That 15 days...
But Doc, this is not a unique situation, is not? I mean, if you're saying that's the cut-off of government every single year, this is exactly what would be the case. How have you dealt with it previously to the point that now we are finding ourselves in a situation where services are suspended? Okay,
let me indicate that the issue of cut-off of date is known, and service providers in general in South Africa, they know that in provincial government and national government does not pay for the last few days in March, because they are closing the system and are balancing the books. And Putco is aware. And therefore we have informed Putco like many other service providers. And I think it's on the part of Putco to explain why they would have suspended the service, or they are intending to suspend the service. But when we receive the media communication that they are suspending a service, as a department, we then make provision to give them a commitment, because they said they can only take buses back to commuters tomorrow if they do get a written commitment in a form of a letter from us as a department. And our Chief Financial Officer has duly done that. A letter has gone to Putco confirming to them that indeed the money has been captured, and the money will be in their books on Monday with all other bus operating companies. So why would they not provide a service? It's a matter that Putco will have to explain themselves.
So Putco was on air at 6:30 this evening, making a statement that says they will not be carrying out their services tomorrow, the 4th of May, until further notice due to diesel shortages. So when did your finance department send them this letter?
If they did come to you after 6 or around 6, unfortunately, the letter had already been received by Putco finance team, and had confirmed that long before 6 p.m. But we'll have to go back to Putco and understand now again what would be the reason of not providing a service tomorrow.
So as of now, what action is the department taking as far as the commuters that could possibly be stranded by tomorrow?
Our option available is purely to engage and persuade Putco to provide a service tomorrow, because the challenge is that this operates on an arrangement of contract between ourselves and the bus operating companies. So we can only persuade Putco to say that they've asked for the commitment in the form of a letter. We have given them that letter. We are really encouraging them and persuading them that they must go back tomorrow morning and provide commuters with the service. We can only persuade them at this point.
So where you are sitting right now, you have an undertaking from Treasury to say the money will reflect on your part by Monday. You have now also taken the undertaking to Putco by writing a letter to say they will be getting their payment by Monday, and therefore you're saying they should then make a plan to ensure that services are available tomorrow.
Absolutely correct. The money will be available to Putco on Monday. That's a commitment we have made, and our systems go with Putco and all other bus operating companies.
They are pointing to the fact that this maybe could be about the cut-off date, but it also sends a message broadly about the underfunding of the bus services, because I suppose they are reflecting that if they were adequately funded, they would be able to have reserves to support them in the interim in instances where there are such delays in payments.
I understand the challenges that Putco is raising up around the issue of the underfunding, to say that the money that government is providing to bus companies is insufficient. Unfortunately, we can only allocate money as a province based on what we receive as a province from our national department. That's the first issue. And based on that, we cannot provide more than that, because it's based on availability of resources. We'd wish to have given more to all other bus operating companies, not only Putco, because that is applicable to everybody in the country, ways of issues of economic conditions, inflation situations, and price index in the country because of post-COVID implications and so forth. It's a situation that everybody in the country find himself or herself in. So it's not necessarily unique to a particular company, and we are not necessarily doing a particular disservice to Putco. The approach remains the same and transversal to all operating bus companies that are receiving grant. There are even those that are not necessarily receiving the grant, and they're still continuing on their own without any funding from government. But the issue of money sufficient or not, it's a purely an economic issue that based on what government can afford or not afford.
So, Dr. Mdadane, what are you saying to us tonight? Are you saying at this particular point commuters are really at the mercy of Putco and whether or not they will be convinced at this particular point by the letter that you have sent to them even before they came on at 6, whether or not they will be providing buses tomorrow?
Yeah, two things. Our letter is a legal commitment. Our letter stands, but also we would engage, I would speak to the MD myself after this interview to find the mechanism and some commitment that they will provide a service and persuade the Putco to provide a service and not to suspend or interrupt a service tomorrow. That's how far we can go on behalf of the commuters that are being serviced by Putco.
Dr. Mdadane, I appreciate your time. Thanks so much for coming on. Dr. Thulani Mdadane, Head of Department of Transport and Logistics in the Gauteng Department of Transport.